I'm Bob Coletta, Product Marketing Manager for Vanguard Outdoors Sporting Optics. Here today to talk about the new Vanguard Dispatch Ballistic Reticle. Something I'm really excited about, taking a look at the rifle scope portfolio and bringing something to life with this company that's really going to give the shooter the ability to reach out at long distance. Our objective here was to take the guesswork and the complication out of long distance shooting and to provide a reticle system that was just really user-friendly to give somebody new or somebody who's experienced the ability to make long-distance shots and make long-distance shots accurately by using this reticle. This reticle has the ability built into it to do ranging, of course your aiming, and of course the precision holdover points to make the shots. It's also going to have a ballistic calculator. Go on our website, go in there and put a bunch of different variables in and get a nice visual display of what it's capable of. A lot of brain power went into this. I've met with multiple teams of software developers. We've got specific codes written just for this project, and we've got ballisticians involved, and of course our own engineering team to draw and engineer these reticles. So the Vanguard Dispatch Ballistic Reticle coming out here in SHOT Show 2017. We're going to get into some details here, and I think you're really going to be excited once you hear about it. The Dispatch reticle is pretty unique as far as giving a consumer a sight picture, if you will. Is designed with numbered holdover lines. That's a great tool in the field. Many of the reticles out there don't have numbers. And what that means is, when you've got a lot of fast moving activity or adrenaline pumping through your veins, last thing you want to be doing is counting holdover lines. Much easier to make a mistake when you don't have those numbers there. So we provide the numbers so you can have a quick visual on target once you know your distance. You have that there as a reference. We also have windage lines, and those lines are actually defined with 5 and 10 mile an hour points. So to make it easier, if you're estimating a 3 or 7 mile an hour wind, you actually have a more precise aiming point. And we have even a finer graduated holdover line for precision shooting out at the longer distances, because a lot of reticles in the market have what I call 100 yards of no man's land. And when you have bullets out there 400, 500, 600 yards, they start dropping really quickly. So by having 25, 50, 75 yard increments, it gives you even more precision. Instead of guessing somewhere along that vertical line, you actually have a place to shoot. The way this works is, works off a 200 yard zero. So from the muzzle of your gun out to 275 yards with a 200 yard zero, you can be on any magnification you want to be. So just like a normal crosshair. If you're going to physically aim and shoot with the holdover lines, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, then you have to be what's on the optimum power setting. And you get that off our user-friendly ballistic calculator, which is on our website. So once you get that optimum power setting, you got a target out there at X range, long distance. All you do is dial up to that optimum power setting based on all the ballistic data you had put in before you went in the field. And now you have your setting to get everything to line up perfectly at 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 800 yards. And every dimension in this reticle was thought out carefully. We just didn't obviously draw a bunch of lines here. We thought about the thickness or the subtension. So when you're at close range, the lines are a little thicker. For low light, maybe you'd encounter a whitetail or what have you. Versus the longer shots, the subtensions actually get a little thinner to cover up less of the target. So one thing when you're looking at the Dispatch or you're thinking about purchasing one, keep in mind that it's grouped by caliber classification. So again, getting back to the comment about marrying the rifle scope with the application, with the magnification, with the type of reticle, everything is designed to be seamless and for the right fit. So the Dispatch 600 is designed by caliber class to work with your standard hunting loads, your 308, your 270 Winchester, your 30-06, for example. The Dispatch 800 is designed for your magnum calibers, your 300 Win Mag, your 338 Ultra Mag, your 300 Ultra Mag, etc. So you're much hotter, your Weatherby mags. The 800 is designed for those hotter magnum calibers. And then we have the Dispatch Varmint, thinner lines, different wind lines, of course, designed to really encompass the lighter weight, faster moving bullets that you would normally be using on varmint or predator type hunting, 22-250, 220 Swift, etc. And lastly, the Dispatch TAC556, which is going to be a tactical reticle designed for the 556 or 223 reticle. So be thinking of it when you're looking at the reticle and how you want to go about purchasing it. It's grouped by caliber class, so it'll really work best for you for what your needs are. The Dispatch reticle is going to have a online ballistic calculator. This calculator is going to have all the data right there in a user-friendly mode so that the consumer or the shooter can go on and access what they need to make this system work. So for example, it'll start with a section where they can actually pick, what scope, so what size scope, what magnification, Vanguard scope they're interested in, and then scroll down into a section on ammunition. And that ammunition system will be broken into factory loads or hand loads, and then that subdivides into if it's a factory load, it's going to automatically generate your velocity and the BC of your bullet, etc. But if you do happen to hand load and you chronograph and you have a slightly different velocity, then you have the option to enter that data. And then you actually have the ability in the next section to enter your external variables, like your elevation. If you're going on a remote hunt, for example, and maybe you live at 1,000 feet, but you're going up to 8,000 feet, you can put that data into the calculator and it will generate, your power setting to get your lines to be perfectly dead on at each distance. So things like elevation, things like temperature, things like relative humidity, etc. From an external standpoint, you have the ability to put those variables in, and all that's going to combine and then give you a nice visual image of the reticle once you select it and enter your data, and it's going to show you where your 0 points are at 300 yards, 400 yards, 500 yards, 600, etc. You'll see 301, 402, 501, 600. Very, very detailed layout, so you know exactly where you're going to be. And of course, you go back and change your variables if you're maybe going to be hunting at different elevations and you want a couple different printouts. You'll have the ability to actually print out on this calculator once you're finished going through the process and selecting your data and seeing your reticle with your holdover. You can actually print a hard copy to take in the field with you. The other cool thing is you'll have a slide rule, if you will, and let's say the reticle is generated to have a maximum or an optimum power on, let's say, 13.2 on a 14 power scope. But you say, well, what happens if I want to crank it all the way up to 14? Well, how is it going to affect my point of impact? It'll actually give you the opportunity to play with your magnification, so you can see whether you're on your optimum power or the on max power, if you want to see what that looks like. The way the system works is it's generated off of the magnification setting, so you are going to get what's called an optimum power setting. That's going to be the best power for you to be set on, so that you're controlling the spacing between your holdover lines to be as accurate or as dead on as possible for your specific load. So again, you can calculate that, get your optimum power setting. You'll see a nice visual display of that, but you'll also have the opportunity to adjust manually, and if you want to be on different powers for whatever reason, you can also see how that affects things. So the calculator is going to also actually be updated on a regular basis. So as manufacturers come out with new loads, different bullet designs, different bullet weights, that's going to always remain current. So you're not going to have an obsolete system once you invest in this scope or this product. And also the cool thing is, if you're thinking about what caliber do I want to buy or what scope do I want to buy, you can go in there and really just play around and see how the different bullet weights and the different scope or reticle selections are going to pan out for your particular application. Again, if you're going to be at a certain elevation, maybe you hand load and your velocity is such, and you get an optimum power setting, and you don't quite, maybe you want it to be a little more, so then you can lower or raise your velocity. So it's pretty cool. You can go in there and really just play with the variables and see what's going to be the best scope for you, either something you have already or something you may want to do in the future. Thank you for checking out the Vanguard Dispatch Ballistic Reticle. We're really excited. This product's going to be launching at SHOT Show in 2017. I'm really happy that this is going to hit the market for our product portfolio. I think for the shooter who's new to long distance shooting, you're going to find this a really easy solution to grab hold of, and also for the experienced shooter. We've got, you know, a calculator and a reticle design that are just really spot on for long distance accuracy and the capability of a shooter to push things out past the 200 or 300 yard mark. So again, SHOT Show 2017, be looking for the Vanguard Dispatch Reticle. Thank you much.